Hi boys and girls, today we're going to make an owl. First I'm going to draw a big U and then a smaller U to connect them. I'm going to draw two big circles with black eyes in the middle. Then I'm going to draw a wing on one side and a wing on the other side. And then I'm going to draw a triangle for the nose. And then I'm going to use different patterns for the body. I'm going to start out with a yellow swirly pattern, curly pattern, and I'm pressing down really hard because we're going to make a resist. And then a blue dash pattern and an orange zigzag pattern and a red wavy pattern. And I'm just going to go down and do all different kinds of patterns. And I'm pressing down real hard with my crayon. It's very important because what we're doing is called a resist. And that means that wherever I put the crayon, the paint is going to resist because we're going to use watercolor paints. Now, watch this trick. I'm going to take a white crayon and I'm going to color around the eyes. Now, you're not going to be able to see that white crayon, but when I paint over it, it will keep the whites of the eyes white. I'm going to put some eyelashes on. Then I'm just going to keep decorating my owl to make it as fancy as possible. And when I'm done with the crayons, I'm going to paint it. Now it looks like I'm going really fast, and that's just because I sped up the video. But this project took me a long time because that's what artists do. They take their time and they work. Now, once I finish with the coloring, I'm going to take out my watercolor paints and I'm going to paint the whole thing. I'm going to paint all different colors to make it as colorful as possible. I have my water and my paints, and I have to make sure that I clean off my brush in between each color. And it's hard for you to see because my camera doesn't fit on the whole paper, but you'll see in a moment. Now, I know you're going to be tempted to do the next part and not wait for the paints to dry. Now you can see how the colors are showing through once I put the watercolors over it. That's the resist. The colors don't, look at that purple and the yellow. The colors don't stick, the watercolors don't stick where the crayons are. That's the resist. The crayons won't let the paint stick. Watch when I go over the eyes. It doesn't stick. Now, I know you're going to be tempted to finish this project while the paint is still wet. I let my paint dry at least a good half hour before I finished my project and I cut it out. And I know you're going to be tempted to race, but I don't want you to race. I want you to wait until the paint dries, because that's what good artists do. They're patient artists. That's how artists work. They're very patient people. And they wait for the paint to dry. If you don't, it's just going to smudge all over the place and get all over you. Okay, so I wait for it to dry about a half an hour. Now that it's dried, I cut it out. Okay, you can see I left a little white line around it. And I'm going to glue it to my construction paper now. I turn it over and I put my glue on it. and I glue it onto my paper. And I make sure it's down there nice and tight. I also made a little stick so my owl can be sitting on a stick. I'm going to glue that down. And then I'm going to take a white crayon, and I'm going to have to press a little hard because my paper is kind of dark, but I'm going to make a moon and some stars. And I'm just going to make my stars by making little dots, so it makes it look like a starry night, because that's really what I think a starry night looks like. And you can't quite see my moon because it's off of the camera, because my camera's kind of weird. I'm gonna have to fix that. And I'm a lefty, so my hand kind of covers it. But I'll show you in a moment. And there you go. When you see my whole thing, you'll see it's all done. And there you go. And this project took me almost the whole class period to do. So have fun making it and take your time. Don't forget to upload it to Artsonia.